What is up, people? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today we're going to have a slightly different video. Today we are going to talk about 5 reasons why you should sign up to me. In the background, I'm going to play my latest SBD day, which is 7 weeks out from the AB Series 16, competing in the Pro-Am division. So I'm really excited for this. This is the final day or final SBD day of this training block, and it went pretty damn well. But anyway, let's roll the tape and we can talk through why you should sign up to Powerlifting Meet. So reason number 1 is it adds focus to your training. A lot of people, when they start getting into the gym and they want to get stronger, they want to build muscle, one thing I've noticed in my experience from working with people for the last 6 years is people are too vague with their goals. So they decide they want to go in and they decide they want to, do their squat, do their bench, do their deadlift, but they don't really kind of set any goals for themselves around them. They don't actually set like hard targets at which they want to aim towards. And the reason why this can be a little bit of an issue is because you just kind of end up going through the motions. You don't really know what you're aiming at, and because of that, you just end up losing a little bit of focus with what you're meant to be doing, right? You don't have anything that you're really working towards. You don't really know, okay, how much weight should I be adding week to week, or how far away am I actually now from an ultimate goal. You're just kind of walking through a desert with no real kind of end point or destination that you're actually going towards. Now, when you sign up for me, what will happen is that you will have this focus, right? You will have these 3 numbers now to plan around: your squat, your bench, your deadlift, and that is a way for you to now make up an actual training program that's dedicated towards improving your numbers on those. You'll have to go through the process of deciding, okay, do I just need to improve my technical proficiency on these lifts, which would just mean potentially increasing the frequency of the competition lifts and doing them more often. Maybe going for 2 to 3 times a week on the likes of your bench press, twice per week on the likes of your squat, and maybe 1 to 2 times on the deadlift, at minimum once, of course. And then from the back of that, you decide, okay, how many sets should I potentially do across each of those lifts across the week? Starting around 8 to 12 sets across those lifts per lift is probably going to be a good starting place for a lot of people. And now off the back of that, you might be going through your blocks and see, okay, I do have some kind of weak links that are popping up here, like my squat, my bench, my deadlift, and now you're able to kind of decide on targeted variations to help improve them. If you have shitty triceps and you have a poor lockout, you might look at doing something like close grip bench for the likes of improving that sticking point. If you suck at hitting depth, well, you might look at adding in pause squats to help you improve your confidence and bracing in that bottom position, as well as just knowing exactly where depth is. And now that you have these 3 lifts to focus on, and now you have the competition lifts, you have any kind of variations that might help target weak links, you can also see if there are any additional work that you can add to the program, which is going to help you bring up weak body parts, which is going to be muscle specific. So again, using the likes of the triceps on your bench, you might decide to do some skull crushers or tricep push downs. And now that you have a program pretty much made up, now you just need to decide, okay, how many weeks out from this competition am I? And just having that point of focus, having a deadline that you're working towards alongside the training program, that is going to level up the amount of focus and dedication that you put into the training program. Number 2 is, now that you have a deadline that you're working towards, and now that you have a training program that is geared towards this deadline and geared towards improving these specific lifts, well, probably what you're going to do is improve your outside of the gym factors, your lifestyle factors. You're probably going to be thinking of, okay, maybe I should look at improving my sleep so I can be recovered in time for my training session the next day so you perform effectively. Maybe you will look at the likes of your nutrition, because you need to fuel properly for your training sessions. You need to be eating sufficient amount of protein to repair muscle tissue, as well as you need to be eating sufficient amount of carbohydrates to fuel the actual training sessions themselves. So you're going to pay a little more attention to that. You're going to pay more attention to hydration, because hydration will improve your performance. Now, because you're looking after your nutrition, you're looking after your hydration as well as your sleep, you're probably going to put a little bit more emphasis into reducing stress too, because stress can impact your ability to perform. It can impact the results you get long term. So stress is going to be increased just by doing more training in general, but long term it can help have stress reducing factors. now you have a purpose to your training, which may have been a source of stress in the past because you didn't really have a purpose, and maybe you're like disappointing yourself and letting yourself down because you felt you're being inconsistent and you didn't really know what was wrong. And it's the case that you just didn't have a point of focus that you're looking towards. You didn't have a goal, and now you have this goal that you're working towards. So now you have a deadline that you're working towards. You have this big competition that you're working towards. You have a point of focus with your training, and now as a result of having that point of focus, you're now improving all of the outside of the gym factors, and as a result, you're probably becoming a healthier individual. You're probably becoming a stronger individual, a more muscular individual, which is kind of what we all want, right? Number 3 is that it helps you set standards for your training. Now, it's really important that when we're going through the training process that we are standardizing technique, we're standardizing form. And when you sign up for meet, you are going to have to hit your lifts to standardized requirement, essentially, to pass the lifts. So with the likes of your squat, you need to hit depth. With the likes of your bench, you need to pause. With the likes of your deadlift, you need to lock out your hips as well as your knees and get your shoulders back. These are fundamentals for you getting 3 white lights in your lifts. Now there is a whole host of different rules that you probably need to abide by depending on your federation, but these are the bare basics. Now what that's going to do is that means that when you're performing all of your lifts in the gym, you're going to be really kind of eyeballing your videos to make sure that you're adhering to these standards. Now a lot of these standards are going to have other benefits because you're not only going to be eyeing out for any kind of technical inconsistencies, but there can also be benefits for hypertrophy, for example. So say, for example, if you are hitting depth in your squats, you're probably taking your quads and your glutes through a more lengthy position, which can be more advantageous for gaining hypertrophy. Pausing the bench on your chest, that is also going to increase the time under tension that you're experiencing on a chest, which again could potentially hypertrophy the pecs a little bit more. And as well, for pretty consistent strength progression, you're probably going to be adhering to your program so that you are not overshooting or that you're not undershooting. And this is going to allow you to have a consistent progression week to week coming into the meet. So now, as opposed to overextending yourself beforehand, remember you're pushing all your lifts to failure and not really seeing consistent progression, and as a result of not seeing consistent progression, you are now being inconsistent with going to the gym. You're feeling like you're failing or falling behind. Now with you properly applying yourself to the intensity that's on your program leading into the meet, you are now seeing that, okay, I can actually be quite consistent with this. I can see long-term strength gains without necessarily pushing myself all the way to the brink every single training session. So again, this is you setting a standard for yourself, both in technique as well as how you're applying yourself to your program. Number 4 is you are going to meet people who have the exact same interests as you, which is lifting. There's nothing more powerful than the power of community, and the powerlifting community, from my experience, is phenomenal. And you're going to meet a lot of people who are like you, who are the similar strength level, so maybe you could train with them and maybe you could push each other. You're going to also meet people who are stronger than you, which will keep you humble, but will also show you what the ceiling is, like what you're potentially capable of. Because like the way I see it is, yeah, am I ever going to be like John Hack? No, but the person who's like 50 kilos ahead of me in total, like what's the difference between me and them? Probably just the time spent lifting. So forming or finding a community through powerlifting can be so powerful for keeping you lifting, because ultimately if we do this shit alone, we are going to fall out of love with the sport. We are not going to be consistent because, again, we're humans, we're social animals, we rely on other people, and powerlifting is no different. And if you sign up for a meet, you're going to meet people who, again, have the same interests as you. You're going to meet people who are similar strength level as you. You're going to meet people who can help you, people who can coach you potentially and bring you to new heights. Number 5, it will push you to be better. Once you get that first meet out of the way, I can guarantee you that you'll probably want to do another one. And as a result, you're probably going to reflect on the process of your very first prep. And you're going to ask yourself, how could I have done that better? And how can I do it better? And sometimes that process will have you rearranging your training program. You might see that you made a ton of mistakes. You might reach out to a coach and get some expert advice and expert guidance, which I would highly recommend because it's definitely helped me over the years and it's something I help a lot of my clients with. But one of the big things is now you have objective criteria as to which you can now push yourself beyond. You have your first total, and now you can say, okay, I've hit these numbers to that standard that federation is holding me to. How do I be better? How do I improve? And again, this is something that's going to keep you consistent. You now have something that's giving you a good point to focus your training. You have this thing, this sport, this powerlifting. You have a community around you, and now you have some long-term goals, which is an infinite game. Really, you're never going to be strong enough, and that's phenomenal. We're never going to be finished unless we just get injured. So yeah, they are 5 reasons why I think you should sign up to a powerlifting meet. So yeah, hopefully you're feeling motivated. Hopefully you enjoyed watching my lifts in the background. I'm prepping for my 8th meet now, and I cannot wait, and I can't wait for number 9, number 10, and beyond. Right, that's it, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll talk soon.